YouTubies, welcome back to my channel. I am outside, it's springtime, it's gorgeous, the birds are chirping, the squirrels are running around, just everything, spring is popping, so I'm excited. And I wanted to keep, um, I'm trying to think, like, I could do my awakening into the void continuance, or I could talk about something else. I think I'm going to talk about something else. So I want to talk about spiritual autonomy and pose this question, like, how spiritually autonomous are you? How much awareness do you have of your entire being and what motivates the things that you do and why you do the things that you do and how and why we react the way that we react? I feel like this is such an important question to ask ourselves because we often can act in ways that seem out of character for ourselves or react in ways that can seem out of character for ourselves. And when we don't ask ourselves these questions as to why, it leaves us vulnerable to repeat these patterns that can leave us in a loop of negativity and just a loop that keeps us from expanding and growing. So I think it's just so important in life to ask, have self-inquiry and have the ability to pause and, if self-evaluate and ask if, where you are in life is where you want to be. And if it's not, how can we make the steps towards changing or becoming, moving more towards the people that we want to be. So as I move about through life and, get to know other people and become, get to know myself better, it's just something that's very important to me, especially if I'm going to grow a close relationship with somebody, that they have spiritual autonomy. And what I mean by that is really knowing yourself deeply and knowing the monkey on your back, knowing your shadow side, knowing your shadow self, being aware when you could be reacting or acting in toxic ways, knowing your triggers, knowing what triggers you and how to just evaluate those moments when you feel kind of off balance. I've just been in a lot of friendships and relationships where I felt, it's, everything is a mirror. Every circumstance that we have when it comes to relationship and is an opportunity to learn deeper about ourselves. And I've just noticed that it's difficult for me at this time in my life to maintain relationship with people who lack the ability to self-evaluate and understand the motivations of their behaviors. And to me, that's, lacking some spiritual autonomy. And in a deeper sense, when we don't familiarize ourselves with our shadows and the darker aspects of ourselves, our reactivity and our triggers, we can then project those parts of ourselves onto other people unknowingly and, in lower states without any care or concern about how we are affecting others around us. And it's, it can be a deterring thing, especially if you want to grow and you want to expand and you're around people who are on that same wavelength. Like, if you're not making the effort to improve yourself or improve your awareness or become sharper in your awareness, self-awareness, then it can become very it's not a magnetizing quality in the long run. So I want to give some examples of like the downfall or the negative aspects of lacking spiritual autonomy. So, for instance, you know, someone, okay, like here's something, like you say you make friends with somebody and, they're very confident and something about them just bothers you and you don't know what it is. You have no idea, but for some reason this person bothers you. There's really nothing on the offset that they're doing wrong. There's nothing that you can really pinpoint that's necessarily negative to you, but for whatever reason you're triggered by this person, and you might start doing things like making snide remarks towards them or acting in envious ways, trying to mimic them. And again, it's like if you don't know these things about yourself, like they're going to come about outside of your, consciousness and awareness. And, or you're just being passive aggressive to them. They might be like, why is this happening? There's literally no reason, but it's acting from a state of the triggering that you're feeling from this person because they have a confidence that you have not reached yet, or they have a level of freedom within themselves that you're not quite haven't quite understood yet. So it's triggering and it's alarming, and it awakens that darker aspect of yourself that has not yet been met by you. And so instead of inquiring and saying, okay, let me take a step back and try to ask myself, what about this person is triggering me? Like, they're really light, bright, happy person. There's really no reason for them to trigger me. So what is it about me that is feeling, asking these questions and trying to dig deeper and learning those aspects, tapping into those insecurities so that the trigger can be disarmed and you can understand, like, okay, this person has reached a level of self-assuredness and security that I have not yet, and it bothers me because it shows me where I feel that I am lacking. That might not be the truth. That we are all whole. We are all whole in our wholeness or in our beingness. It's just about coming to that awareness and coming to that truth and realization, is knowing that we are whole. And part of that wholeness is acknowledging those shadow aspects of ourselves. And so, one perspective I have is like in a really darker sense, like with spiritual attacks and all of these things, like I had a perspective of like, when we lack self-awareness, it leaves our vessel open to become used by outside entities to attack the light in somebody else. But really, now that I'm speaking on this, I really feel that it's, again, those shadow aspects of ourselves that come to life, that animate through our vessel, that are triggered and attack the light in something else or somebody else. And so again, when we don't become familiar and become well acquainted with those shadowy aspects of ourselves, they lose control, or we lose control of those aspects of ourselves. And again, we can act out of character and act in ways that we wouldn't want to act if we knew we could have control over those parts of ourselves. So spiritual autonomy takes a lot of work. Something in the spiritual community that a lot of people are avoiding is shadow work. And there are so many layers to that work. And becoming well acquainted with our insecurities and where we feel we may be lacking, and it's truly based on just a belief system that we have to really work hard on changing. And it takes time and it takes practice to change these belief systems that we have about ourselves, about our sense of lack within ourselves. And I've just, as I expand and grow and learn more about myself, I speak from my own point of view. Like, I have been guilty of that, of projecting my darkness onto other people, or even in recent times, feeling really insecure about my state of being and wanting to blame circumstances outside of me instead of taking responsibility and recognizing that I have everything that I need within me. There's nothing outside of me that is affecting my own reality. It's all me. And when we take that responsibility, we don't make the mistake to make other people, make the world responsible for where we are in our lives. And we create more positive and more cohesive relationships that way, because they're from a place of honesty, a place of vulnerability, and a place of truth and self-acceptance more than anything. When we can accept where we are. Music is bumping. It's just popping right now. Like, it is so alive right now. I'm happy to be outside. I'm just kind of coming off my dome with this concept, and I'll probably talk more about it down the line, but I just feel that being autonomous in our spiritual being, in our entire being, it makes life richer, and it makes us more secure and self-assured and grounded. It's really, really grounding to know thyself, know your triggers, know your insecurities, and know that you are in control of your reality and your state of being and your state of existing. I'm just going off on a tangent now. I think I'll elaborate more on this another time, but spiritual autonomy is a great state to be in, and it will magnetize great relationships to you, great people to you, trusting relationships, and it will really make you feel whole or recognize your wholeness. So, something to ponder. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and if it is spring wherever you're living, enjoy it, whether it's rain or sunshine. Go on a walk, go on a bike ride, acknowledge the life that's all around you. Put your feet on the ground, your bare feet in the dirt if you can, or them touch the grass. Smell the flowers wherever they may be. Listen to the bird songs. Watch the squirrels run and play. Connect with any animal friends or not. You know, some people don't like animals, and that's cool. But just enjoy life. And in these moments are great moments to really self-reflect and look within ourselves and ask ourselves questions as to why we may be triggered by certain people or certain circumstances, and be honest in those moments. When we're honest with ourselves, we disarm those darker aspects of ourselves, those shadowy aspects that we want to separate ourselves from, like, you know, and something I'll talk about in another video is like demonic attacks and stuff like that. It's all, those are all aspects of ourself. It's all, we are our own experience 100% of the time. So until we're ready to acknowledge that, we're going to see everything separate from ourselves and be a victim of our circumstances and our reality. We are in control of our reality and the outcomes within it. So just remember that. And until then, I will see you on the next one. Bye.